Established in 2020, the Author's Porch is a space for authors to share their literary works of art. Founded by CJ Ives Lopez, the Author's Porch puts authors first and becomes a premier destination for all at every level in their careers. When you join the Author's Porch, we want you to think of us as a beacon of light, bringing you home to a porch where your family is waiting to usher you into your greatness. From live cast to podcast, blog posts, and most recently, the magazine, the Author's Porch brings promotional services and advice to authors to get their writing published. Whatever the issue, the Author's Porch connects writers with a service desire to create their dreams into reality. Hey everybody, welcome to the Author's Porch, where every great conversation happens, and it happens because we trusted Brendan and Vamsi at Master Talk to show us the power of effective communication. And we also make sure we have a great cup of coffee from Third Day Coffee Seguin, a Christ-centered, veteran-owned coffee company. Today on the show, we have Stephen Eugene Kuhn. How you doing, Stephen?
I'm doing great. Glad to hear you're working with Jose. Great coffee.
Yes, you will quite often see me with my Yeti here that my son got me for Christmas, and it is always filled with coffee because I love my coffee and I love working with veteran companies as well.
Excellent.
So let me give you guys a quick introduction for Stephen. And I didn't warn you before the podcast. I'm a goofball. I stutter my words. I get all over the place. And it gets even worse when I have somebody on the show who I've been wanting to actually talk to for quite a while, because I watch about every podcast you get on. So if I just roll with it, I know you're very good at that. So if you could just, make me look good, I totally appreciate that.
No, we're good.
Great.
We're good.
Thanks. Good. Okay. So guys, Stephen is a U.S. military combat veteran who has been handpicked to consult with some of the most influential people in the world: rock stars, singers, actors, business leaders, and politicians, to turn around their business and how to expand their brand, build value and loyalty, and develop strategies for increasing beneficial relationships for increased revenue and achieving the true quality of life. Stephen is a best-selling author and has a new book that was just released with his partner and co-author, Lane Belone. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I've been asking everybody how to say you and Lane's last names. And they're like, look, CJ, it's not that, it's really simple. And I'm like, no, you guys don't understand. I mess up my words really bad. Okay. Who is also a Special Forces Green Beret. And the title of the book is Unleash Your Humble Alpha, of which I am currently about halfway through. And it's a fantastic book. And I love the concepts in the book. So Stephen, let's learn about all things that is the humble alpha, because I'm quite interested in this concept, this book, and so many things.
Sure thing. Well, I want to start by saying that I typically live in Hungary, and today I'm in Austria. And funny how things happen is, in the book we talk about my time in the monastery. I don't know if you've gotten to that part yet.
No.
Okay. So I spent some time in a monastery in Austria, and it happens to be 20 minutes from here. So we just got back, and I brought my two children, for 6 and 7 years old, to see the monastery where Daddy found himself again.
Wow.
And we walked in, and two of the monks that I knew from 2008 happened to be standing right there when I walked in. And it was like, wow, meet my kids, and amazing. And it was incredible. So it was a very wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Now it's 5 p.m. We're ready to roll. So Humble Alpha, cool. The Humble Alpha itself, the name came from a mountaintop in Peru above Cusco. Lane and myself met there for the first time. I had been doing journeys there with plant medicine. So ayahuasca, San Pedro, iboga, and some combo, and plant medicine and frog medicine. And Lane and I met there, and we were working with San Pedro, and he had a group called Authentic Alpha, and I had a group called Humble Man. And we were just sitting there, and we were working with the medicine, and we looked at each other and said, man, we got to do this together. And we're like, Humble Alpha. And so it was born. That was that easy. And so the name was born. We didn't know what to do with it, though. We just knew we wanted to do something. And so we started trying this and trying that, and we had to get to know each other first. but we knew we had a connection. And that was 2018, I believe. Yeah, 2018, January, I believe. And no, it was March 2018. And then we just kept trying to work things out. And then we went back to Peru again. And we were sitting there and working with the medicine again. And then we came up with the idea for the book, right? And the book was really interesting because it started out like this. Lane and others would ask me, hey, how did you get a job with Mick Jagger or Olivia Newton-John or Andrea Bocelli or work for the Parliament or the NASDAQ company or the PLC? And I was like, I just did it. And they're like, yeah,
like
but
it's
how?
so easy. It's so easy.
And they're like, how? I said, I just walked up and did it. And just ask them, and they're like, yeah, but what was the internal drive and the thoughts you had? And I said, I don't know. I just did it. So Lane's like, man, you got to teach this stuff. Right. And then when I started articulating and actually researching what it was that I was actually going through when I did all these things, and I've done some crazy, amazing things. I really have. I mean, I'm just so, some people used to call me Forrest Gump, right? And everything just sort of falls in my lap, but it doesn't, but it looks like it does. And so we started talking and we're like, man, there's a lot of concepts here. And Lane's like, well, I think that way too. And I do this and I do that. And so we started on this journey of talking about, how do we recreate for someone and show them how to live a life like he and I have lived. Not that we're great, but we have a nice integration of who we are in our lives in every aspect. If there's one comment that I always get, it's like, Stephen, you're literally who you are, how you are, online, offline, it doesn't matter. You're like the same person.
Yeah.
And that's because I know who I am and I know my identity and I know what my purpose is. When you have that, you're not bound to anyone else's rules. You don't have to try to be somebody or try to fit in or dress this way or do this or do that. You're just who you are and you own your presence. So the book, Unleash Your Humble Alpha, own your presence in life and become the epic leader you're meant to be. And so it's based on 5 principles or 5 models, I would say. First one is HIT, honesty, integrity, and transparency. That's the core principles that you live by. Honesty with yourself while you do say and think what you do. Transparency is how you step into the world with that honesty, and it's your ongoing reputation. And then integrity is a byproduct, right? So the integrity makes you authentic. Integrity is real simple. Do what you say you're going to do. Don't do what you say you're not going to do. And if you mess up, fix it and apologize. That's integrity. Yeah. For me, simple, right? You can't earn integrity. You have to be, and integrity is the byproduct of being, right? Yes. Honest and transparent. And so that's HIT. And then we have creating space. Creating space is when you go into any conversation, even like this conversation or a meeting or with your spouse or a keynote speech, you go with one intention, and that is to add value by solving problems. You don't worry about the outcome because you can't control it. You have 0 expectations because that's a guaranteed letdown unless they're verbalized, right? So you have 2 ways to look at an expectation. You don't have it, or you verbalize it and get an agreement. Otherwise, no expectations, right? And so when you do that, you create the space around the people that are talking that it just becomes a very natural process of just communication and exchange. And there you start coming up with ideas and creations of co-creation that you otherwise alone never would have come up with. Number 3 is investing in relational capital. Investing in relational capital is when you're in your life and you're meeting the people in your life that you're investing in them and you leave them in a better place than when you met them. You're always adding value, looking for collaborations, joint ventures, and whatever it is you can do to help them. Inject power into those connections, inject power into those relationships. And the law of reciprocity guarantees you will get a return. It's probably the only investment you'll ever make with a guaranteed return, right? So not necessarily from that person, but from another person, another thing, another whatever, the universe, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
And then we have life enterprise. Life enterprise is, we say you're the CEO of your own life enterprise, just like a CEO of a business enterprise. You answer to 2 groups of people: the board of directors, which is your family, and the shareholders and stakeholders, which is all your friends and family, your friends and your influence and your circle of influence. And the same thing, you treat them well. You answer to them. You make sure they're in a good place. You make sure they're supporting them in everything that they do. And that's where investing in relational capital also comes in. And all of that leads to one thing. And that's the one thing that everyone on this planet seeks. It's the one unifier on this planet. And that's quality of life. Everyone seeks quality of life. And so that's the book, the 5 models in the book, core principles of HIT, and how you live a life where suddenly things are going your way with very, very little effort, focusing on the intention, not on the outcome. and creating space so that you can co-create with all those around you. Co-creation. There's people that say, oh, I'm a self-made millionaire. No, you're not. No one's a self-made millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire. It doesn't matter. There's no such thing. Unless you went and you were completely alone. You didn't have any school teachers. You didn't have any friends. You didn't have any parents and nothing. We've all been co-creating our whole entire life. When you do that, though, consciously, that that right now you and I are co-creating a new dialogue. I've never said what I've said the way I've said it today with you, because each interaction that I have with people is new, even if it's the same person over and over and over. Right. And that's the beauty of creating spaces. You're always coming up with new articulation. And when you articulate your own life, your models, the way you believe, the way you live, what you believe, the way you think, you're actually mapping it out in your brain so that you have a model of which you can live by. So remember, when I started, I couldn't tell you why and how I did what I did. Right? Now I can tell you exactly what I did, and I can show others in the book with Lane not how, but what to do to get to where you want to go. We don't worry about the how, because once you know your identity, you know your purpose, you gain certainty, and certainty allows you to completely let go of the how. And so when you live with no expectations, creating space, letting go of the how, focusing on the intention, life is suddenly very simple. And sort of that's the outcome of the book. So identity, purpose, certainty. That's basically the overview of the book.
Yeah. I find it fascinating because I think a lot of people are trying to find that comfort zone within their skin. And in reading the beginning parts of the book, that's kind of what the guiding parts are, is finding that comfort within your own skin so that you can understand that you have that power within yourself to be okay with being who you are. And so many people, they get frustrated, the ego, right? That ego part. We all live with it, and some of us can't control it. Yep. Some people literally will let their ego lead them. So I want to ask, yeah, absolutely. Did you ever lead with your ego? Did you ever have to take that part away so that you could become that humble alpha?
Yeah, definitely, and I still do. You have new situations where it comes up, and it's about being aware and conscious of where you are in your life and who you are as a person, identity. And I definitely had my ego problems. When I went in the Army and I got out of the Army, and when I was working in corporate world, and that ego kicks in often when you feel you have to compensate, right? You feel you're not being recognized. You have to compensate for what you think you don't have. Well, I'm here to tell you, you have everything you need. I promise you, as I sit here today, doesn't matter what kind of education you have, doesn't matter if you travel the world, doesn't matter what you have everything you need inside of you. 100%, without a doubt, I promise you, period. Yeah. And when you realize that and you create space and you say, no matter what situation I'm in, I don't have to be right. I don't have to have the answer. I just want to talk about, how do I get to the answer, right? What do we want to do here? How do we get to the answer? And so you start having a dialogue like we're having here. And then you let go and create that space, and you start creating the path to the answer. And you won't be surprised anymore when you do this all the time. So I don't have to know anything. I don't have to know how to do this, how to do that. I just need to know how to communicate. And I need to know how to let go of my expectations of the outcome, my wishes for the outcome, and all of the other stuff that clouds who we are and our ability to actually dig in deep with the person in front of us with no distraction. And that's in life in general. And that your life, and I'm serious, I don't even know how to say it, but Lane and I are so far now, because when we articulated this and we brought the book out, we're like, wow, this is pretty cool. So we live by that. And we quote each other all the time, say, hey man, create space, brother, no expectations, that kind of stuff. We're to the point now where, just for instance, I had an idea. I'm like, what do you think, Lane? He's like, oh, that's a great idea. Why don't we do this too? I'm like, okay, good. So we talked to an advisor. He talked to two people. 4 days later, we had $250K plus $150K from two different companies that are going to make this reality, make this idea a reality. We had no idea how, we had no idea who, we had no idea where. We just had an idea and an intention, and that was it. And now it's exploding, right? And so that's what we mean. When I trust in the process that when my idea and my intention are aligned, and I start with my identity, and I know exactly who I am, and this is about me, this is something that really aligns with who I am and my purpose, it's going to happen. The how doesn't even matter. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. You say, okay, imperfect action, moving as you go, creating as you go, and you create what we call radiant value, right? So I give value to you, you give value to someone else, give value to someone else. We get radiant value, constantly radiant value, radiant value. People hear that and say, hey, you got to work with Steve. You got to work with Lane. You talk to Lane, talk to Steve. And so those 5 models are universal for everyone, woman, man, child, whatever, right? Everybody.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is when we try to explain it, people find it hard to understand. So what we say now is, imagine the humble alpha as an operating system, like your Mac or your Windows, right? Your operating system always stays the same. You might get upgrades, or you might download a antivirus, or whatever, right? But your operating system stays the same. You don't become the app that you download. You don't become the upgrade, right? And so when you realize that, you're like, okay, because a lot of people go out into the world. Okay, I'm now a corporate manager. I got to dress like corporate manager. I got to talk like corporate manager. I got to act like corporate manager. Why? You want to be like everybody else, right? Or I'm doing this now. I got to act like that. Or I dress like this because I'm doing that. Why? Right? Okay, meet people where they are. If I'm going to a ball, I'm going to dress like I'm going to a ball. If I'm going to a meeting where I'm going to meet influential people, I'm not going to wear disgruntled veteran F off t-shirt. It's just not going to do it, right? So obviously, I'm not saying screw you, do whatever you want. What I'm saying is meet people where they are, be you, be authentic through owning your presence in life. Fill that room with who you are without saying a word. That's where the book gets you.
Yeah. When I heard the title, I had to sit for a few minutes, because when you think of alpha, everyone thinks of this hardcore, all the way in, just boom, boom, boom all the time. But then you put humble in front of it, and I thought, wow, that's genius, because alphas do not have to stand up and let you know that they're the alpha. You just know when they walk in the room. And then I started reading it, and a lot of the book, I think a lot of people automatically think when you start reading it that it is just for men. And when I started reading it, and I thought, no, it's not just for men.
No.
Even though some of the words speak to men, I'm learning from this book as a woman. And I wanted to make sure that anyone that hears this interview realizes, as a woman, you can read this and learn from it as well, because it speaks to all of us. There's so many concepts. So now, is this the book that was accepted into the Forbes Business School?
Yes,
I heard.
this is now curriculum at the Forces Business School and a few other universities we can't mention yet, but man, they're huge. Ivy League.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, look, when it comes to the women, right? So we wrote the book for men because we're men, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't pretend to write it for women.
Mhm.
But we did that purposely because we knew that if we wrote it for men and said it was for men, that the women would be like, what about us? And so it worked. And about 60 to 65% of all of our readers and followers and supporters are women. And I got to tell you, they really embrace this stuff. They really, really embrace it. And they're the ones that are shouting it from the rooftops. A lot of guys are like, no, I keep it for myself, that kind of. Women are like, oh, let's do this, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a classic control versus holistic, right? So the women are very holistic, the men are very controlling or action oriented. So they want to do this and that's it. And women are like, no, everybody, So in general, right? Yin and yang, right?
Yep.
So and so it's been accepted into, or it was put into the Forbes School of Business and Technology as full curriculum. We're going into the UK as well, into the bachelor's program, and we're going into the Middle and Far East in a executive MBA program as well. And like I said, there's 2 Ivy League universities looking at it right now, which, man, if they take it, we're solid. And this is what it means, is that you don't have to be in the MBA program with Forbes to take the course. Mm-hmm. You can take the course one-off, learn a bunch, and you get a Forbes Business School certificate of completion. Mm-hmm. So it's actual 2 credit hours, or 2 units, they call it, when you take this course. And it can go towards your degree or your bachelor's or whatever it is you do. And it's leadership, entrepreneurship, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're pleased. We're very pleased. It's just like, again, we started out with a Vetpreneur tribe, which is a tribe of veteran entrepreneurs. I was there when it was 3,000 people, and now we've grown it to 15,600, I think.
Yeah.
Then we have the Warrior Council, which is people from the Veteran Tribe who pay $49 a month, which is a joke, $49 a month to be coached once a week by Lane and myself and others that are collaborating with us, right? It's accountability and help each other. And we've turned that into another thing that we did also on San Pedro last year called Have. And this is where my intention, see, we always work with intention, even with plant medicine. Before you work with plant medicine, you say, what are your intentions? My one intention was, how do I combine Humble Alpha and the veteran empowerment and make it not look like it's a lopsided, purple elephant or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And it came to me, have. And I was like, have it all. Have what? And I was like, oh my God, Humble Alpha veteran empowerment. Mm-hmm. You can have it all. You can have it all. So we launched that as sort of an umbrella, open source umbrella organization, right, where anybody can contribute. But it's an identifier for anyone who supports, is a sports veteran, is a veteran, family members, and active duty. And that's gone into now an investment fund, Have investment fund, and Have NFT infrastructure, entire ecosystem using a collectible military object with history. So an existing object, turning it into an NFT with an existing community, and out the back end, we have application and utilities as well. And this is all from one intention, right?
Yeah.
How many people can we impact with the Humble Alpha? We just had a live event in Houston, a Have event in Houston, and it's constant. It's this constant thing, and we have this massive ecosystem that we're growing right now, all from one idea and one intention. That's how powerful it can be when you're certain in what you're doing, when you're certain in your direction. And the biggest issue is, until you know your true identity, it's really going to be difficult to find your purpose and drive through that, because your purpose is what amplifies your identity. So you see our purpose of expanding the Humble Alpha operating system into the globe, globally, also with veterans. People know us, who we are. Oh, that's the Humble Alphas. That's the Humble Alphas. Mm-hmm. Right? That's Stephen and Lane. They know who we are. So our identity is being amplified. And it's great because they see us as Humble Alpha, but we're two completely different people, 20 years apart, completely different. But we're seen together as one for Humble Alpha and separately as human beings. And our abilities shine through that amplification of a purpose. And so until you find out who you are, I mean, if I ask somebody who they are, they'll be like, I'm the CEO of, and you're like, no, that's what you do, my friend. Oh, I'm a father, I'm a mother. No, that's what you do. That's your job, right? Okay, they don't know. They don't know. So we take the first chapter through that. Who are you? You're going to come up with a statement, an identity, and a 2-word moniker. And the 2-word moniker is your power play. It's like, that's who you, that's nailed down who you are. And mine, for instance, right now, because it always changes through life, depending on your experience and what happens and what you're exposed to. Mine currently is powerful connector. Now, before I actually did the work to figure out that I knew I was always good at connecting people. I made millions of dollars connecting people. But until I nailed that 2-word moniker, and when I nailed that 2-word moniker, my business exploded, because I knew what I was good at, and I put it to use, and I implemented it and deployed it in every situation that I was in. Powerful connector isn't just me connecting people. It's I inject power into the connections that I have. I ensure that both parties are happy and that they're working together as we discussed, or they're both profiting. If there's an issue, I try to figure out and try to make it work. That's why I consider myself and found out that my identity is a powerful connector, because it's always a win-win for everybody who's involved, including myself. And so when I know that, I can deploy that anywhere, and I can focus on that instead of saying, what do I need to do? So I go in, right? I create space. I find out what's going on with them. I create space. I invest in relational capital, and then boom, then it rolls out. And I know, as a powerful connector, I can find out what they need, what they want, where their issues are, what challenges they have, what have they tried, why didn't it work, and where do they want to go. Once I get all that stuff, create, connect, power, boom.
Yeah, I currently have a whole page written down that I have to narrow down into those 2 words. Like mine is like a whole page of all these things that I know that I'm good at. And then I have to say, okay, which one is my most powerful trait? And then I have to narrow it down into 2 words. So I'm still working on that.
Well, keep going until you get to feeling like, oh my God, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep
so
going.
I'm
keep
working
going
on
until you get that, oh my God, until you get that aha moment. Keep going.
Oh, awesome. I'm doing the work, but it's a slower process, because I have to still work on, you say, knowing who you are. I think for a lot of people, we think we know who we are, but the problem is we don't do all of the work. And I have this habit of I go 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 go, and sometimes I don't slow down and really look at the way things are affecting me and why is it affecting me that way, and learn that so that I can move forward. And so those are some of the things that, I
Well,
tell people all the time. If it's affecting you a certain way, figure out why it's affecting you that way so that you can learn more about yourself. Um,
well, most of us are acting the way we were programmed to act by
mhm.
parents, by judgment, by school, through fear. I mean, you have, the inner child, which is responsible for fear. You have your parents, which were responsible inside of you for judgment that they pass upon you when you were younger. Then, of course, you have your ego, which is, they can go any which way, but, you can imagine. And so there's a concept called the five minds, right? And the five minds are you have the consciousness, your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, your judgment mind, which are your parents, your fear mind, which is your inner child, and your ego.
Mhm.
And your conscious mind is the only mind that can actually make a decision. Your subconscious is fed history, your history. Once you encounter something in this life, your subconscious immediately goes to the judgment, the fear, and the ego to say, hey, when did this happen before? And what did I do? How did I act? And
Mm.
it's almost always negative when you're pulling it from the past instead of creating new.
Yeah.
And so when you can work with your mind and say, wait a second, I don't need the ego, I don't need the fear, and I don't need the judgment. I'd rather have communication, a warning, maybe what's going to happen, and consideration instead of judgment. And you flip those in your subconscious, then everything looks different. And when you can affirm that no matter what happens, it's supposed to happen, right? Bad things, like right now, I'm in a situation where my life is changing drastically in my personal life, against my wishes, right? But I see it as it's painful and it's sad, but I see it as, my God, if this is happening right now, that means something amazing is on the other side.
Yeah.
So just knowing that and having faith and certainty that, yeah, this is my path, and that there was no other way for me to take my path besides this happening to me. Because otherwise, I probably had 3 or 4 signals from the universe or God, and I didn't see it. It's like the guy who was in a flood and people kept coming by and saying, hey, come on, I'll pick you up in the boat. And he's like, no, God will save me. And then another guy comes by, no, God will save me. Helicopter comes, the water's up to here. And he says, God will save me. And then he died. He drowned.
Yeah.
He went up to heaven. He went up to heaven and said, what's up, God? You said you would save me. He said, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we don't see sometimes those signs that are right in front of us.
Right.
And so bad things have to happen to us to get us back on our path.
Mhm.
And that's where I am right now. And it's invigorating and sad at the same time. It's painful but joyful at the same time. And it's an oxymoron when you think about it, what I'm going through. But I'm sort of excited. And I'm actually very excited to see what's coming on the other end. And I can feel it bubbling under the surface.
Mhm.
So when you learn to live like this, nothing bothers you, right? Nothing bothers you. Okay. I was out of commission for about 2 weeks when this happened because it was a surprise. I was
Mhm.
completely out of commission. I was like in the Bermuda Triangle with an airplane, right? My everything was, all the dials were spinning and the plane was going like that. I didn't know what was going on, right? I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's the great part. That means that's expansion and that's learning for me. And what that also means is I'm going to have more stuff to articulate in order to teach in the next 6 books that we're going to write.
Wow. 6 more.
Yeah. We can't, again, the intention was to, touch as many people as possible. We said 1 million, but it's going to be more than that now with the Humble Alpha operating system. And the divine number of 7 came up as the number that would accomplish that. And so then, 7 days to create the earth and the heavens and the whole works. And, 7 is imaginable, 7 wonders of the world. It's the most divine number that there is, number 7. And it just seemed to line up in intuition. Lane and I at the same time were like, how many books are we going to write? I'm like, 7. Okay. Simple.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you already have your structure for those 7? Do you already know names or anything?
No,
or
we don't. We don't, because again, we don't plan like that, right? We have the intention, right?
Mhm.
and we're articulating we record every coaching. We have a program called the Humble Alpha Paradigm Upgrade Advisory Program. And there we work with leaders who want to break through to the next level and find integration in their lives so that they're happy on both personal and private. And also they just own their presence and crush it. For instance, Eric Adams, the new mayor of New York City, his special assistant is one of our clients, right? And she's crushing it now. After 3 months, she just extended for another 3 months. It's a 3-month program. It's once a week for 3 months for an hour a week. And most people after 3 weeks, after 3 sessions, are like, my God, my life's completely different. And it's all about focusing on the intention, not the outcome. It's all about integrating yourself in all aspects of life of who you really are as your identity and finding your purpose and driving through that. And we have a bunch of clients. We have group clients in the UK. We have past clients that are now business partners of ours because they see the alignment that we have and how we work, and they want to work with us like that. And so all of these things lead to that one thing, and that's the impacting the world with the Humble Alpha operating system, which will create true leaders from the inside out. And when you're talking about Humble Alpha, it's alpha on the inside, humble on the outside.
Okay.
Like you said, when you own your presence, you walk into a room, people don't even have to see you; they feel you. That's what we're talking about when we say owning your presence.
Now, you were in the military 20 years or how many years?
No. I did 7 years.
Okay. Now, did you ever think that you would be where you are now?
Not where I am. I had no idea where I was going to be, but I knew I was going to have an impact. I knew that since I was 8 years old. My twin brother and I we woke up one day and we're like, holy crap, we're going to do something.
That's amazing.
But it's all relative. I mean, my whole life, I felt like there was something right here, like, look over here. And then I'm like, what is that? Like, there's something there that I'm supposed to be doing. I could never find it. And I did everything. I mean, I did so many things. It was ridiculous. I had 3 jobs at a time. Then I owned cocktail bars and part of a nightclub, and was a corporate head of Europe with 3,500 employees. It had 3. I mean, it was crazy, the stuff that I was doing. Wrote a book at the same. It was just nutty because I'm looking like, okay, what do I got to do? Do this, da, 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 da. And I was always successful until I wasn't.
Yeah.
And then, in 2008, I crashed and burned big time, hard time, lost everything, and ended up attempting suicide by grabbing a police officer's weapon out of her holster in Germany. And that sent me on a journey to this place right here in the monastery, right, where I recovered and really found out who I was and what I was and why I was. And that set me on this new path. And since then, I haven't had that thing behind me saying, hey, there's something here. I know it's already in front of me. I am becoming and have become that thing that I was supposed to be, that entity, that power, whatever it is that you want to call it. And so that's where I find myself now. And I'm super excited about what we're doing because we don't know how it's going to happen. We have no idea. And it's just awesome because it's happening, right? It's like, boom, it blows your mind.
Yeah. I mean, I can already see the lives that you're touching and how many people are already, just so many folks are tuning in to what you guys are doing. I'm reading the book and I'm gaining a lot of insight into myself. So thank you and Lane both for bringing this into the universe, creating the Vetrepreneur Tribe, because I'm connecting with so many amazing Vetrepreneurs, one of which I have a meeting with after we get off this phone call because of a service that I need some help with. So much collaboration happening because of what you and Lane have brought into the world and are teaching everybody that connection that so many people don't do.
We do it gladly, selflessly, because we know that's the foundation of what we're building. The ecosystem of what we're building, which is organically growing. Like I said, Vetpreneur Tribe, Warrior Council, live events, the book, the investment fund, the NFT space with the crypto and the blockchain, into the real world with investing in real estate and in the metaverse. It's all there. That's all coming almost effortlessly, right? And the way that we build that is with goodwill and giving with no expectation, right? I give you and I have no expectation because I know the law of reciprocity will take care of me anyway.
Yeah.
I don't have to pin you to anything,
Yeah.
Even if that person screws me over, it doesn't matter because I'm going to get it from somewhere else.
That's so true. A lot of people are like, you got to get on them. You got to message. I don't. I don't get in people's inboxes and harass them. I send it out to the universe. It
Yep.
either comes back or it doesn't. And it
Yep.
always comes back eventually, somehow, some way. And I'm 6 hours away from Houston. And I was so upset that I wasn't able to go to the event, but I was going to be up there the next weekend. I'm like, I can't do 2 weekends in a row. That's a lot
Yeah.
of peopling.
Yeah.
So, but when is your guys' next event? Is it going to be an annual event?
Minimum annual event. We haven't
Okay.
figured it out yet. That event was our second event that we had. First one is in 2019 in Washington, D.C. with the Military Influencers Conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're having another conference in Las Vegas, I think in July. We will probably be there with an event in the Military Influencers Conference.
Nice.
And then I am heading to the States in January to work with Operation Restored Warrior.
Wow.
It's a faith-based reboot for veterans who never sort of worked out their issues or having issues.
Yep.
And after that, I'm probably going to go to Colorado, meet with Lane, and we'll probably do some local stuff there in San Diego or I don't know, somewhere around there, and we'll just sort of do our thing. We'll see. We have a very tight-knit group of people. We put the word out, and everybody knows.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's so true. So what else do you guys have on the horizon other than the 7 books and the many, many roads of traveling that you have ahead of you?
Well, we have in March and May, we have our annual or biannual trip to Peru, and where we take up to 10 people with us, and we go to Cusco, above Cusco, in a mountain house that we have with friends of ours, and we spend 10 days there. We go to Machu Picchu. We work with plant medicine. We explore what the compound. It's crazy. I call it a compound because in South America they have adobe walls around everything, right? Mm-hmm. So we call it a compound, but basically it's a house with walls around it, right?
Yeah.
And so 2 large gardens and a kabuka. What's it called? I always forget that, the grass hut where you do all the ceremonies and things like that.
Yeah.
And with them, then we have it's literally right in the middle of the ruins of the Incan Empire. So the Temple of the Moon, Temple of the Frog, Temple of the Monkey, the Pachamama Birth Canal, the Pachamama Womb. It's all right there.
Wow.
5 or 6 minute walk. 1 second. What's that?
Where's my napkin?
Your tissue here. What do you mean? You're not? Oh, I don't know where they are, Lily. My daughter. I brought the kids with me, so
that's cool.
Ask Anita or go in the bathroom and get some from the toilet roll. Yeah, to blow your nose. Yeah. So that's the 2 next things that are coming up, and then there's we don't do a lot. That's okay. We don't do a lot of and this is going to sound strange, but Lane and I, we're the architects, right? So we make the plan, we have the ideas, we set the intention, and then we find people that want to work with us, collaborate with us, and profit from it, and then they do it, and we stay the architects. So we have a lot of ideas. But we also know we don't want to do them all at once. And there's a process, and there's a cascading process that we're going to, once this one gets rolling and gets up, then we'll do this one, and then we'll roll it up like that. So when the books come out, we don't know. What we do know is that every single advisory call that we have, every single call that we have with clients, we record it, because again, we create space every single time, and it's a different articulation. And sometimes we're like, oh my God, did you just, that was awesome how you did that. And Lane's like, oh man, we gotta write that down. And we're like, no way, we gotta record it.
Yeah. So
we take these transcripts, send it to rev.com, and it puts them into Word, and then we send it to an editor, and they start pulling out the gems.
That's super cool.
And soon we're going to have probably an assistant or somebody to start taking like this podcast, go through it and take clips of it to use. But in the end, there's more stuff to do than there is time in the day. So we don't stress. We don't work that much. We work heavily focused. We go into what we call a focus cave, right? Where you shut everything on the outside, put in earphones with brain.fm, which is isochronic tones. And then there's the Apollo watch that we wear, which has a vibration and frequency that goes into your body, and you can choose which mood you want to be in, whether it's meditative or energy and things like that. And then you just go and work, and you do in about 2 hours, you do about 6 hours of work.
Wow. I need that. I need that.
Brain.fm and the ApolloNeuro.com.
I'm writing the ApolloNeuro.com.
ApolloNeuro.com. and then brain.fm. It's an app.
You know, I've heard about Brain FM. Jared Ledbetter from he told me about. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm
Well,
gonna
Brain
check those
FM
out.
and Apollo Neuro are the owners are members of Baby Bathwater. I'm a member of Baby Bathwater. Lane's a member of Baby Bathwater. It's called the Baby Bathwater Institute.
Oh,
And
nice.
it's a bunch of entrepreneurs, crazy people, out there doing making a change in the world. And we met them, and we collaborate and work together. That's why I mentioned Apollo and Brain FM, because I actually use them. They're people I know who created those companies, and it's fabulous.
Yeah.
We do have, I think we have some of that stuff on our website, humblealpha.com. Please go check it out. Go to the advisory program. You can see some testimonials there. You can check out what it is you do. We'd love to have you as a client, talking to the viewer now. We'd love to have you as a client. I think you'll be surprised how little time it actually takes to come to the best version of yourself, and that you don't have to go years and years and years of coaching. Matter of fact, we're done after 3 months. If you want to go for more than 3 months, we can go for more than 3 months, but we're going to change the trajectory. We meet you where you're at every single time. And it's a powerful, powerful program.
Awesome. Well, Stephen, I've had a great time talking to you. I want to hand it over to you for any last words that you do have for the viewers. Send them that message of encouragement or anything.
Well, let's do this. Let me go. humblealpha.com/book. Yeah. There you can get a free book. You just pay shipping and handling. Simple as that. So if you go to humblealpha.com/book, you just sign up and you get your book, and off you go. It's real simple. It'll be a great way to get your book, and it's a lot of fun to read it. And all we ask is, if you buy the book, even if you buy it on Amazon, take a picture of it and put it on social media. That's how we got the word out. We have mosaics that we made of all the people that hold the book up. So we have people from all over the world, celebrities, all kinds of stuff holding the book up. It's incredible. The site is humblealpha.com. I just see the hello, Elizabeth. humblealpha.com/book. You can look at the advisory program as well.
Awesome. Thanks again for being here, Stephen. It has been a pleasure to get to the opportunity to talk to you, as I'm in the middle of reading your book and a member of a lot of different groups. And I will be joining a lot of other groups as well. It's always a pleasure to have somebody of your caliber on the show. Guys, don't forget to come back each week and watch us here live or on the podcast on Facebook. We have the bookstore now in Danville, Indiana. Go over to Danville, Indiana. And today is Small Saturday, Shop Small. Sorry, I'm messing with my words here. You can ask Siri, Alexa to play the latest episode. Head to our website, catch the latest issue of the magazine or our blog post. We want to continue making authors' dreams come true and provide them a platform to shine. We'll see you guys next time. If you appreciate conversations like we do and want to become a better speaker, visit our friends Brendan and Vamsi of Master Talk, where they teach you how to use the power of your voice. And don't forget, stay awake with a nice cup of coffee from Third Day Coffees. Again, the best cup of coffee on this side of heaven. Until next time, friends, I am CJ. That is Stephen. Go read his book, and we will see you next time here on the Author's Porch. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
The Author's Porch is a certified veteran-hosted podcast. Show your support. Tune in, share, and subscribe.